thing is, I'm always not comfortable doing this, so I just will let you know that if you'd like to make a donation, no, there's no donation that's too small, but to ChIME, you can just go to our website and you can make a donation. And I just need to let you know that Imbloc is brand new to me, so it's been very exciting to find something and discover something completely new about this. But Susan, it is not new, and so I'm going to hand it over to her, and she's going to share some wonderful details about Imbloc.
Thank you, Suse. Welcome everybody to this very special day and season for us. And for those who don't know, Susan and I are both chaplaincy students at the Chaplaincy Institute of Maine. Susan's in her first year and I'm in my second year. And it's really a joy to put this service together and share it with you. We had an in-person one pretty well figured out, but we managed to zoom it around today for you. So we hope that it is satisfying and uplifting. Imbloc. And here we are at the season of Imbloc, a season that calls to us to listen, listen. For even with storms on the horizon and a winter's weariness on our backs and our hearts, deep within, the trickle of spring, it's beginning. The light is lengthening. It's stretching tender fingers towards the dormant buds and tightly curled leaves, beckoning, whispering. Lambs are turning in their mother's wombs, and sap is waking from its winter dreams. And we remember spring. Imbloc is an ancient holiday that happens this time of year around the beginning of February. It has manifested and changed into other holidays. It's known as Groundhog's Day modernly. It's also St. Bridget's Day. Bridget, who is a Celtic goddess. Bridget is the goddess of lactation, of things that trickle, of running water, of ewe's milk, of fire, of things that transform. We are at a season of transitioning. It is still winter. It is still frozen. It's storming. And this isn't only on the earth. This is also in our communities and on our planet. And a lot feels frozen and cold and still and scary. But underneath it, there is a trickle. Spring is awakening. It's awakening in the earth. It's awakening in the leaves, in the sap of the trees. It's awakening in our hearts. So when we celebrate this holiday, we look to Bridget, the goddess of transformation and change, of taking what seems dormant and unchanging and cold and frozen and transforming it into a new growth and a promise of spring and a promise of renewal. And that is what we celebrate at this season, both on our earth, on our planet, and in our hearts. So we will be inviting you today to look at that. What does Bridget call for us? What do we feel in our hearts? How will we be transforming? The Earth holidays allow us to give meaning and context to our lives. We look at what's happening on the planet and the Earth, and we feel it happening in our hearts. And when we feel lost and maybe like it's chaos, we realize that the Earth holidays tie us back into that cycle of dormancy, rebirth, joyful exulsion, death, and dormancy, and rebirth again. Earth holidays are that reminder in our own selves, and we see it reflected in the world around us. We welcome you to this celebration. Zeus, I pass it on to you.
When I learn to unmute myself when I speak, I'll get that. But thank you so much. It was beautiful, beautiful. So I need for you all to imagine that we are physically present and we are at ChIME's at the church And Susan and I are, one of the things at Chimes is that we need to chaplain each other. We practice chaplaining each other. So we have set the stage for two chaplains, well, excuse me, two almost chaplains, to chaplaining each other in the arena of Imbloc. So there, and you will get an opportunity in the breakout room to also work with each other and chaplain each other with with the same questions. So hold on to your seat and get ready.
Hello, Sis. It's really nice to be here
Hey,
with you.
yeah, you too.
So I know this holiday is new to you and in your learning about it. Can you tell me, what does Imblic represent to you in your life?
You know, I had a reference to like the trickling water when I was walking and, where the ice was frozen and the water is trickling. And, on a visual level, it was beautiful. And it made me think of things that are down in the earth, things that aren't necessarily seen, or sometimes they're heard, like the birds, they're changing with the longer daylight. And on a visual level, it was, a visceral level, it was really exciting to recognize that we are the in-between solstice and equinox, which we're smack in the middle. And I'm so used to celebrating equinox or solstice. So I love that it allowed me to come to a center that I hadn't thought about before. And when I can come to a center in nature, I come to the center in myself. And I was really humbled, Susan, that you kind of opened that ability for me to look at this time of year in that particular way. And when that happens, you go in to see or recognize, are there any divine seeds in you that I may be ignoring? But I think most importantly that it grapples sometimes with the practical part of life, of seeing things in nature and being in the all of their beginnings and transformings and transitions, and not giving time to what's forming in me and my transitions and what's dying, what's leaving, what's getting rebirthed. And I loved that. I absolutely loved that. But I realized that going in to see things leaving and coming and rebirthing and dying is a scary place. It's not the most comfortable place to go. If anything, you would prefer to stay on the practical level of functioning in the world on the physical level. So I honor, truly, truly honor myself for taking courage to just really step deeper in, and for anybody else who follows that.
I love that phrase that you used about divine seed in yourself.
Yeah.
That got me thinking.
Yeah.
How do you see Imblic manifesting in your daily life?
That's a really, really good question. And I think I have to pause to even answer it, because I never use the symbols of Imbloc to represent my daily life. But if I'm going to transition to those words, it's recognizing that every instant, every moment is new. It's totally new. There isn't, and then it's gone. So you have this amazing thing going on, that no matter what mistakes you made or no matter what thoughts come in, they go. They're dead. Boom, done. It's collapses, it's gone. So there is always this movement towards being able to respond from inside.
Mhm.
It's like the plants that go to the light. It's like when we step outside this time of year and there's sun, we do it. Inevitably, we go, oh my God, the sun feels so good. We do this thing. And we talk about it, the physicality of like, I don't need my hair mittens today. I don't need my coat. We talk about giving the death to the coat and the jacket and the scarf and the boots. We talk about that. And now it's like recognizing, it's like I get that and it's fun to do that, but now it's really paying attention to what is internally continually, I can say burp or fart because it's like coming up. You know, it's like breath. The breath dies, the breath is renewed. And just kind of staying with that and watching my body respond to others. And I have to say to you, Susan, it made me really practice with my family.
Mm.
Really made me I figured if I'm going to be a chaplain, I need to be I need to do it with my family first, you know. Okay.
That's a profound thought. How do we move? And that leads into my next question. How do you entwine a sort of spiritual awareness into your daily life? How, what, is it the contemplative part of such a practice? Does that manifest out in your behavior with the world at large, particularly now in such um, an intense and emotional transformative time in our community?
Yeah. I think sometimes it's been a little difficult for me to identify, am I fractured because I've given myself information to what's going on in the world, and that just is a visceral, discombobbled feeling, or am I fractured because I'm not focused, you know, which happens too. Or if or when I'm feeling fractured, is it just Seuss, you know? It's like, hey, you came into the world a little fractured, Seuss, so, you know, don't be hard on yourself. So I observe that when I'm angry, I'm really angry. And anger is not a natural thing for me sometimes, but I'm seeing that. And I think sometimes it's because I'm not getting in the way of anger. I'm just letting anger do its thing. It's kind of like a hot ball. It lasts for a little bit and then it's gone, you know, when you suck on those things.
Mm.
Um, I see that. And then I see an incredible I cry a lot more now. I cry, you know, with compassion. I cry with pain. But I can cry at I Love Lucy's show, so I know that about myself. But I feel like the tears just come really naturally, not for anything or for anyone, but they're just tears of joy and tears of pain. I think my interactions are slower. It's kind of like, oh, I didn't think about it, but it's kind of, Susie, it's kind of like the trickling water when the earth and the roots down underneath are beginning to move and you know start to expand and just kind of allow themselves to feel that movement. It's like slow. I see myself slower, and it's much nicer for me to be in my body, moving slower.
You find your newly gained knowledge of what Imblic means to be useful in any way for processing all of these changes that are happening that are bringing the flowing, trickling tears from your body? Is there any application from learning about the season that is helpful, or is it just, or maybe not? Just curious.
That's actually another really good question. Um, I would say to you, I didn't have that answer until I started to listen to the music that represented Imbloc.
Mm.
And it was in the music
Mm.
that brought me there.
Mm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Rock on chimes. I love that. I love it when we chaplain each other. Okay. I wish we could switch on the stage here.
Right. Swap rooms.
Yeah. All right. So Susan, you shared about Imbloc. You gave us some historical things about Imbloc. You did a wonderful, wonderful expression of how the nature reveals Imbloc, both outwardly and inwardly. But now I want to know what Imbloc represents for you.
Mhm. I've always loved this holiday because my first Earth holiday that spoke to me a lot was winter solstice, because I struggled so much with the darkness of winter, which I thought was just, a chemical struggling with the darkness of winter. And I tried all sorts of things to make it easier, and some things helped. Um, But what really made the difference for me was when I embraced the darkness I was feeling was as part of a spiritual pattern that united me with the earth's patterns, and it was safe and okay. That it was something I could go into and move into, and it wasn't quite as scary because I saw it as part of a larger process of transformation. So when Imbloc became more known to me, it became so personally joyful because it was like, oh, it's not over yet. But we made it through. Like this morning, it's storming, and I woke up and I heard bird song. And I said, well, is it still snowing? I hear birds. And it's definitely snowing, but I hear bird song. And everything's really frozen. And, I like to joke that, you're getting older when it's no longer fun to slip on the ice, you know. But things are melting, and in the freezing you see that trickle, and that trickle is so important to me. And I live in an area with a lot of maple sugaring, and so that we know the taps are going in, and it's that promise, that maternal promise that I've got you, we've made it through, and spring is coming even though it doesn't feel like it yet. And so that is really what it represents for me. And it represents a sense of being cradled in a greater whole. And perhaps this is what people who attend a more traditional church feel, like going to mass regularly or going to temple regularly. And that's not something I've really experienced as much. But this realization that my emotional spiritual experience is part of a pattern of a greater whole makes me feel held and then safer in the world as it is unfolding mysteriously, because I feel it in the patterns. Yeah.
Well, I love that you said the pattern, that you're part of the pattern of life, which means you're not separate from life itself. You're not separate from anything. It's really beautiful to look at that way. Yeah, the trickle made me think of the icicles that are just phenomenal right now. The weaponry of icicles, I guess, the beauty of them. Susie, tell me a little bit or tell me a lot about how does this manifest in your like daily life? Either an example or sample, just where does it fit in? Where's this pattern happening for you?
This pattern gives me hope. And I don't think I've ever been quite as challenged in hope as I am right now. And this pattern gives me comfort. And so it manifests in my daily life, and that literally when I get afraid, waking up at 2 a.m. feeling pretty afraid, reading the news, feeling pretty afraid, that I can take a step back and put it into context. Often we discuss in chaplaincy training that we don't want to get political about things, and I understand that space, but I also feel strongly that there are times in which we can't really separate those two, or at least I can't separate those two. So it's really manifesting for me in my daily life right now in hope. The earth is much older and wiser than I am. And that pattern's been there. Nature's patterns, like nature is perfect. Human nature, not so perfect, but nature, and we are part of this bigger whole. And so being able to fall back on that is giving me internal coping skills to apply to when we as like God's children are stumbling. It is giving me the skills to get back up and move forward, because the earth is showing me there everything is cyclical. And this is part of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love the idea that hope is that seed in you that has really, really, you talk about watermelon seeds. I see like just enormous seed with you. This is a question that comes up a lot for me in ChIME, and it's a question I want to ask you, is in your, can I say spiritual or just say in your practice, your, let's say contemplative practice or just your meditative practice or your quiet practice, whatever that practice is that something do you see it transferring into action, or do you see it just being, this is the part that stays, it's even hard for me to even describe it, as stay quiet and stay preserved, and then the day goes on? Or is there something where they are actually interactive actions for you?
Good question.
Yeah.
It's always been there as a silent personal thing. So it's contemplative, which is sort of a wonderful little thing. You know, we hold the little thing, my place, snuggling up against the breast of the mother, right? Like, here I am, safe. Part of, for me, about going into chaplaincy training has been to make the conscious decision to take that out of my private personal space and apply it to my community. I have, that has always been part of my outward daily life, but it's much more assertively now and purposefully and conscientiously now. To take that which I hold sacred, and actively have that as my vehicle for how I'm moving through my professional life. And in my personal life, it's always sort of been there, but like out there in the world, for me, and I know that this is not the same for everybody, but for me, manifesting my spiritual experience with my everyday behavior and actions in the world is of primary importance. So even though I don't really, well, I'd like to, I would, I don't want to do things that are scary and hard. But for me, I need to, and that's my purpose is that. So I'm so grateful for these questions and for today's program, because it's making me really realize right now, here in front of everybody on Zoom, that this spiritual relationship and practice, and it's not really a practice because it's just my beingness, is what is giving me what I need to do the work that I do in the world. And so all of a sudden I'm feeling a little bit better about that, and a little safer and a little braver. So thanks for asking that question. Yeah.
Yeah. Imblic gone. I want to dance. I want to rock it. I want Imblic.
Trickle, trickle.
All right, folks. If we were here, I'd have a word that would hold up and say the end, but really it's just the beginning. So now I'm really excited that you all are going to have opportunities to work in a dyad too, together, and asking the questions what Imbloc represents for you, asking the question, how does Imbloc manifest in your daily life? How does it play out? And then asking the question, where in your practice or your beingness or your spirituality does that come through in the active daily life? And I'll put those words, or close to those words, in the chat so you can look at them.
And I'm just going to ask
Blessings.
you for a question, Suze. We were going to do our meditation before that, but would you like to go ahead and go into the breakout rooms first?
Oh, sugar McGee. Oh,
That's
sugar
quite all right. We
McGee.
can totally do it that way. I just want to check. But also, well, it also will be part of our meditation, though. If I'm going to
Oh,
take a seat of the
ran
bed.
away
I'm
with
so
me.
excited. It's awesome. No, it's great. And I think it's all, I just wanted to double check because I didn't know if I should move in. But it all will fit together.
I
What we're
think we're
thinking.
chaplaining each other right now.
How about this? Friends who have joined us, we're going to give us a few moments to contemplate what we've just been discussing, and to listen to the trickle in silence of your heart, and with Craig accompanying us. And as we come out of that, we will move into breakout rooms, so then you can start sharing with each other what perhaps bubbles up in the spring of you as you're listening to the thine. So, Craig, take it away.
Thank you, Craig. It slowed me down a little bit. Thank you.
She changes everything she touches. Everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches. And everything she touches changes. Changes, touches. Touches and changes, changes, touches, touches and changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. Changes, touches, touches and changes. Changes, touches, touches and changes.
Thank you, Susie. Well, you're all going to get touched and changed right now. So we're going to have you break out into a dyad. It's my new word, dyad. I usually just say two. We're breaking out in twos. And I've put the questions in the chat. You have to scroll maybe up just a little smidge, and you're going to work with each other, and the questions are there. What does Imbloc represent for you? And how does Imbloc play out in your daily life? And does your spiritual practice, your being or your spirituality, how does that intersect in daily life? And maybe it doesn't. Enjoy.
And we're so grateful, Craig, to have a little bit of your musical ministry to share with us for a song.
Thank you. I too am very glad for it. I just want to put a refrain in the chat, just in case you want to in your space sing with that, or just meditate with those words a little bit. Hemlock lifting from the snow, my heart quickens with the sound of it. The greening of the lands below, feathered flutter, fields abound with it. Roots are growing through the ground in the waking wood, shoots are showing toward the sun. Water flowing where the ice of the winter stood, spring is out for another run. Warm wind slips between the trees, my heart quickens with the sound of it. The moist earth is in the breeze, feathered flutter, fields abound with it. Roots are growing through the ground in the waking wood, shoots are showing toward the sun. Water flowing where the ice of the winter stood, spring is out for another run. There comes a lightness to my soul, wakes a spirit that has slept in me. Spark of warming cuts the cold, sprouts the seed of hope that's left in me. Roots are growing through the ground in a waking wood. Shoots are showing toward the sun. Water flowing where the ice of the winter stood. Spring is out for another run. Roots are growing through the ground in the waking wood. Shoots are showing toward the sun. Water flowing where the ice of the winter stood. Spring is out for another run. And I am out now.
Susie, you have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Suse. Friends, hold that little light in your heart. Protect it with a fierce gentleness. Cup your hands around it. Shelter it from the relentless winds. Cradle it close and whisper secrets to it. Tell it who you love and why. Treasure the glow and the warmth. Turn your back to the gusts so strong they might douse it, curl around its precious flicker. And then, when you feel strong again, when it expands and reaches upwards through your fingers, raise it high, offer it to the world again, and let it shine, my friend. Let it shine. The world needs your love.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Susie, for that blessing. We're so grateful and deep gratitude that you're all here with us today. So we just created incredible seeds within us, and I'm just going to draw them out and send them to everyone everywhere and ask you to do the same. And please, Imbloc on. Okay.